Hi Internet, welcome to Crash Test Gaming, and today we are going to be becoming a merchant of death as we become an arms trader in Fungi's new closed beta for their upcoming game Arms Tycoon, Trade Tycoon Tanks. So we will be running this and playing as Great Britain, which is our only option. I believe that you have a number of countries to choose from in the final product, but at the moment there's only the content for Great Britain in the game. And this will be our first look at the new 3D engine. So they had a demo out for this last year on Steam, but they've taken it down and they've replaced a 2D engine with a 3D one, and they've been working on that this year, and this is how it's coming along. So we'll just enter our company name. We'll be a member of the Merchants of Death, saying that is our trade. Incorporated, of course. Third time lucky. And here we go, Arms Trade Tycoon, just letting us know that we can now reverse engineer components from competitors' tanks if we capture them on the battlefield. So that's what we shall strive to do. Classified information from the British government, and they're just acknowledging the importance of tanks, and they're forming a tank regiment under the Machine Gun Corps, and we can expect a contract soon. So we'll have some time to design our first tank and hopefully do a bit of research and get production underway before the contract arrives. And we'll have to compete for it and see if we can win it. So we've got Design Bureau, Engineering Bureau, where we make all our parts, designs where we put them together into a tank, deciding which engine, which tracks, which hull to use, which guns, that sort of thing, how many crew are going to be in the tank, petrol, ammunition types, things like that. And we've got a research department, administration, where we can take loans and hire more workers and engineers, production hall, where we produce the tanks, warehouse, where we ship tanks out from and order in parts like iron and medium carbon steel, rubber, high carbon steel, glass and ceramics and plastics later in the game. And we've got we can test drive our tanks on the obstacle course and check them for faults in the proving grounds, and a museum for past tanks of ours that do well enough and earn enough prestige, I'm guessing. Haven't seen the museum in action yet. So to begin with, we'll have a look at research and see what we can do about the tank. So we can upgrade our buildings here, so we can make percentage changes to the ease of research. So there's a number of those different ones. We might just go straight for more engineers per line. That seems like a wise choice. So we'll build that, see how it goes. Have a look at the research. We've got 3 fields of research. We've got the structure of the tank, firepower, which is ammunition, machine guns, naval guns, which were the order of the day back in 1914, and the tanks were known as land ships. So mobility is the tracks, petrol, engines, that sort of thing, and structure is the steel and the turrets or sponsons that go on the side of the tank or the top of the tank, and different types of hulls, and even down to the construction method. So we've currently got riveted unlocked. We can move to bolted construction later and improved riveted further down the track. So it seems like we've got some basic components of wrought iron, rhomboid hull, male sponson unlocked so far. So we might just go to the engineering bay and see what parts we can make from that. And we've already got a few parts constructed by the looks of things, with the subparts unlock. So we just, as we research more things, there'll be more and more subparts that we can throw together in different hulls to make up the tanks that we want. And at the moment we have these already done for us, because these we don't really have much unlocked at the moment. So there's really only one option by the looks of it. Yeah. So we might go straight to designing the tank. And we've got a spot here for reverse engineering, but we haven't captured any tanks yet. So we'll design a prototype of the Mark 1 series. Pop in a hull, engine, some tracks, male sponsons on the side, and as we add more things, the mass is going up. The volume inside the tank is being taken up by various parts, and we've got a crew limit of 10 for this tank, and we can fit some guns into the sponsons and a machine gun in the front, and we can then add crew. So we'll need a commander, we'll need a driver, and we can use these as a guideline here. We'll need a couple of gunners and a couple of loaders and a couple of mechanics. And a mechanic gunner should polish us up. So we're just a touch short on the commander, and as you can see, because we've got an overloaded commander, so that affects the crew performance across the board. And I wonder if we take off one of these sponsons, we could reduce that back. So we could go back here, put an armoured plate on instead. That would bring our commander back. We could then get rid of a gunner and get rid of a loader, and that would put us into the green. Would want to change this a bit, but well, we'd still need the sponson has room for crew in it, so we'd still be in trouble with that. So I think it might be better if we just put that back on and not bother with removing a gun. That's 50% of our heavy duty firepower. So we go back, fill in the positions again. So this initial tank might be a bit dodgy. We should unlock more technology and have a more efficient tank with probably less crew. And mechanic gunner, there we go. Then we add in ammunition. We've only got HE ammunition at the moment, and standard ammo with the stats there, so we can compare them when we unlock others. And petrol, which should be diesel, but never mind. And that puts a negative onto the crew safety, because we have to be a bit worried about blowing up. So this isn't the safest tank in the world, unfortunately. I'm sure if we put a bit of camo paint on it, it won't get hit at all, and we won't have to worry about it too much. So there we go, our first prototype. So instead of the Mark 1, we might just call it the prototype. And if we manage to research a few things before the first contract, we might not even have to produce this in our manufacturing at all, because it's looking like it's going to have quite a few defects that negatively affect it. So that'll take 18 days, and go back to the factory ground, and we can go to the administration, and we should we get a pop-up in a minute that tells us it's wise to build the fire stations, medical stations and maintenance office. I think we'll follow that advice, because the fires and accidents can be quite random in this, and quite debilitating if you get them at the wrong time. And we'll just go through and pick a few 100 extra workers will be good. A few upgrades for our buildings. 25% bonus on assembly. Though we've only got 400,000 left, so maybe we should wait till we get a contract before we spend too much. And this is the world as it's implemented at the moment in 1914. We're based in Britain, although I do believe we can sell to any country. And the rest of Europe is represented here. We can go and have a look at each country. We've got budget preferences, economic preferences, and military preferences. You've got internal politics, external, so we've got a trade agreement with Norway, Belgium and the Netherlands. We're allied to France and Italy. Breakdown of the economy. It's Britain's looking for assault tanks and has the combined arms tank doctrine, and looks as though it's forming the 1st Battalion, so that's probably what we're going to get a contract about, so we should keep that in mind when we're designing a first tank once we unlock some research. So speaking of which, we'll go across to research, and I think in an effort to try and improve our tank, we might want to look at a lighter engine, a smaller engine, so that takes the same amount of mechanics, but it's about 1.5 tons lighter and than our current sleeve engine. So that could be an idea, and this is the centipede running tracks we've currently got, which take 5 points of cruised mechanics, and if we upgrade that to the Warhouse tracks, we only need 1, and we increase our weight limit by a ton or 2. So this might be a good initial research target, so I think we'll go for that. 15 days. 20 men, so we'll get started with that and get time moving. Okay, so Horse Guards has contacted us to say we've got an advisor, and this looks like a small tutorial for the game. Go to the Design Bureau, design your first tank. We have already done that. 17 days left, that design's finished. Government news. Early success of tanks on the battlefield. Well, we haven't supplied Britain with any tanks yet, so I'm not sure which tanks are succeeding on the battlefield, but invest in manufacturing capabilities. We have done that already. We've got a couple of buildings on the production hall that should help us with that, which allow for more staff and greater speed in development. Okay, new component development and modification. So that's in the engineering or the research. We've done that as well, so it looks like we're ahead of the game a bit. We've got a production hall on its way, suggesting a riveting workshop, so we'll build that as well. There we go. And we have the improved high pass running gear unlocked. We go to the engineering bureau and we go into it, have a look at the running gear. Oh, we've already got that developed, it seems, and that's with the best equipment that that we can put on it. So I'm pretty sure I didn't just develop that. Anyway, we shall we'll keep going. Maybe that was a give me in the previous demo. You had to design all your parts, so I presume that'll be the case here. Mark 1 prototype is completed and ready, so we can go have a look at that design in here. It's got 13 faults that we'll now need to send on trial to find out what those faults are and correct them. As you can see, we have all the stats down on the right hand side: mobility, crew performance, crew requirements, level of protection for the turrets and the main hull, and the firepower of the various weapons, and reliability and repairability of the tank. So the running gear is has insufficient roller access according to this. And we've got a number of issues with the volume limit. So we've got a 30-ton tank. It's almost at the limit of what it can fit inside it, and with 9 out of 10 crew. So we can, oops, I'll get used to those buttons, I'm sure, given time. We can test drive the tank, take it out for a spin down at Hatfield Range. So this is the tank. It moves quite quick for a World War I tank, which I think historically could only move at about the speed of a walking man. They were infantry support vehicles, and I don't think the British government saw much of a point of making them go faster than a marching soldier. So these went 4 or 5 miles per hour. And I think the cavalry tanks, or the light tanks, went about 9 miles per hour. So this seems to be doing 20 kilometers an hour, or just over, which is it's pretty quick for a tank of this era. Not the most accurate of guns. Might need to get closer. Oh, we've lost the target on them, so I'm guessing I hit them. And I still need to hit this one here. And we'll test out the tank on a slope. It is struggling a bit. Seems to be caught on an invisible wall. So still a few errors on this beta. It's still a fair way from completion, I'd say. But just giving the game a bit of a trial run, see how it's progressing. This isn't the most agile tank in the world. It's very slow to manoeuvre. So it'll be interesting to compare this to maybe one of the Whippet tanks that the British developed in this time period, which was a cavalry tank, which should be a fair bit more agile and quick. And we go across the muddy tracks of Hatfield. May need to invent see if I can get a shot around those sandbags a bit. Invent a stabilizer for this. We'll need a cannon to take that out, I think. So it's hard to believe that there's 10 people, well 9 people in this particular variant inside this tank. It must be filled with petrol and smoke and exhaust and cordite from the machine guns and 6-pounder cannons. I'm sure it wasn't the most pleasant type of tank to sit around in. It struggles to get up a small mound of a hill. And we continue to progress around the obstacle course. There is no elevation and depression with this machine gun, unfortunately. Maybe I can just run over these targets. No. There we go, got them all. Reverse back over onto the track. Only 500 rounds of ammunition, so hopefully not too many more targets. We need to get 300 points, so we're over halfway, and we've still got 5 minutes left, so we should finish this obstacle course with quite a bit of time to spare. Only 60 more points required for completion. That'll just be a few targets and navigation points. So it's interesting to see that Britain isn't at war with anyone in July 1914. I can't remember when Franz Ferdinand was murdered, but I'm pretty sure Britain should be at war already. And we've got some Liberty tanks in the garage up here. They actually never saw service in World War I. They were developed at the end of the war, right in 1918. And we've completed the obstacle course. We get 20 deployment phase and 5 repair phase points for tactical combat when we do go to war. So we can go to the proving grounds and get the tank put through basic trials to unlock the defects, but that's going to cost 13 grand. I might leave that for now and not spend the money, because I don't think I'm going to make that tank, because I'm pretty much... oh well, I have finished the research already. So we shall go back to mobility and get a engine upgrade, I believe. So this should weigh less and go faster. So 20 days to research that. We shall do that, and then we will make a second tank, I believe. And we still have yet to receive the contract, but we do receive some classified information from the government as the war begins. I haven't got a message that we're at war yet, but I believe this is the developer wants to test out more of a sandbox with diplomacy for the interwar periods at the moment, so that's what we've got. Britain's talking about applying the potential of Caterpillar tracks, I believe initially to haul artillery pieces around, and Winston Churchill is going to be in charge of the Landship Committee, which was the group in Britain that developed the tank. So we've got purchase more raw materials at the warehouse. Well, we'll have a look at that. Have a look at the supply lines. So we can buy from Oceania, Europe, Asia, Middle East, Africa and North America. They seem to have different prices for each, and different reliability of delivery and different delivery times. So the US takes about a month to deliver. That seems like a long time. Oceania 4 weeks, 3 weeks, so we've really got to plan ahead with some of our contracts. Europe's the most expensive. It's right next door. It takes a week. So that'll be interesting. We might order from America to begin with and just order a ton of everything. It would be handy if we could just have a select all option. That'll cost us 144,000. Maybe we won't order any glass because it doesn't look like we need much glass for the initial tanks. Maybe just 1,000 glass. 129,000. Well, we only have $400,000. That seems like an awful lot of cash. We might revise our order down a bit. So we'll order 60,000's worth of goods. That'll take a month to get here. Hopefully we get a contract by then so we know when we've got more money coming in. And we've got an option to hire additional workers, but I don't think we have spare money at the moment. We'll only have just over 200,000 at the end of this month. And we have William Tritton available to hire from administration. So if we go there, William costs 1,500 gold or 1,500 dollars a week. 10% maintenance, so that should pay for itself, and it looks like he's for manufacturing, so he adds 25% man-hour cost reduction. So that will be pretty handy. We'll hire him. He'll take 5 days to get here. And our research will be ready in 6. Okay, Engineering Bureau, it's just giving us a notice about that. And William Tritton has arrived. We'll just get the research unlocked. And then we'll go design our new engine. So we've got the Taylor twin cylinder, which as we can see, we've got multiple different components we can select here. Now we've got the side brakes Mark II, which has a better weight, better volume, it's cheaper, less hours to cost, and it's stealthier. So it looks like most of these things are going to be a straight upgrade. Later in the game there should be trade-offs between things like weight, certain abilities that each separate part will have in their costs. So you can make lighter tanks, heavier tanks, cheaper tanks, more expensive tanks, and tanks that specialise in speed or power or reliability, those sorts of things. And it'll take 20 engineers 5 days to make that engine, so we'll do that. And so in 5 days we can design a new tank, so we'll do some research in the meantime. We'll go back to the firepower. We might go tracer munitions or solid shot rounds, because they won't require any designing, they're just expendables we can add to the tank. So that's got 25 penetration for the AP rounds, which is a lot better than the 2 penetration, although it does a lot less damage, but I guess it's an anti-armor weapon, and we'd like our tanks to have the option of taking out enemy armor. So we will research that. That'll be 20 days. So I guess that's when we'll design the new tank, because we want it to have some AP rounds. Have you tried driving your own tank? Yes, we have done that. Okay, we've got the twin cylinder. 10 more days. Oh, we should pop our new manager into our factory, even though we're not manufacturing anything yet. The riveting hall has been completed. Okay, a rival company, the William Foster Company, has completed an assault tank named Hector. Looks like that'll be our competition for upcoming contract. Okay, that's the AP is ready. We might next we'll research better steel for more resistance to weapons for our tank. And we will go to tank design to create a new Mark I with a lighter, faster engine and better tracks, with the male sponsons on again, and 6-pounder guns and the Lewis machine gun. So we'll have the same crew except one less mechanic, so we should have less stress on the crew performance, as it won't be so crowded inside. A couple of gunners, a couple of loaders, a mechanic. So we've gone from 9 crew to 8. So we still have some defects, but they are a lot less than our first tank, and it's a bit lighter and uses up a bit less volume inside the tank. So we now have AP ammo, HE ammo, machine gun rounds, petrol. We'll go for just a plain paint job on this one. Call it the Mark 1 Mark 1. I cannot think of a better name. That'll take 19 days to design. So we shall get started like that. And we've got 30 days on discovering better steel. And so we are just essentially waiting for a contract at this stage. And talking about Holt and Hornsby tractors, they're used for the basis of the first tanks, with sophisticated track and differential systems. Okay, and sounds like the artillery officers didn't like Caterpillar tracks too much, thinking that horses were much better still. Well, time would prove them wrong. We have more buildings completed, and they come up on the 3D map here. As you can see, we've got new buildings around each of our buildings here. 16 days of design still to go, and our order from America came in. I don't think we can really afford for any more parts at the moment. We've got 101 tons, or 101,000 tons, and it looks like we are going to go broke after this month. So we'll go to administration. We're going to need to take a loan. 450,000 is the most we can take. I believe this demo will be going for 2 years, so we'll pay it off in 5 years, meaning we'll never pay it off. So we'll take the money and run, which will be wonderful. And 7 more days left to go on the tank design. And that's the Mark 1 Mark 1 designed. There we go, with half the defects of the Mark 1 prototype, and you can see attribute sum with the new engine, new tracks. It's about 10% better, and slightly more expensive to make, about $1,000 more expensive to make, and about 5% more expensive in terms of man hours and parts, or materials rather. Okay, so if we go to the factory, I think we'll start producing that straight away. When the contract comes in, because we're so desperate for money, we want to be able to ship it off straight away. So it'll be a good idea to have some tanks ready to go to fulfill that first contract, because we've already bought the materials, so, and we're paying the crews of the factories whether they produce anything or not. So it'll take 23 days to make 10 tanks. We'll start with that. I keep on pressing the wrong buttons. I do apologise if that's slightly annoying. And we will send our new tank to the testing grounds. It's going to cost $7,000, and it'll take 11 days to test the tank. And we shall take it around for a test drive and see how it performs in comparison to the last one. We can see visually that the new tracks are a lot heavier and thicker than the previous tracks. It does feel a little slower, even though it's a lighter tank. So that'll be interesting to go. Perhaps the engine has more torque, but doesn't really have a top speed that's any better than the previous engine. It seems to be hitting maximum revs pretty quickly, but it is struggling to build speed. The gun is still inaccurate as all hell from range. So we hit those two. Oh, that really struggled to get up there that time. It is a girthy beast. It definitely feels like it handles a bit worse than the previous tank. So I'm not sure with the new tracks and twin, maybe because it's a twin 4-cylinder rather than a single 6, but surely having it one engine for each track would deliver more power and torque to each track. I mean, these engines weren't small, even though they were 4-cylinder. These are London bus engines. And we've got the 6-pounder Hotchkiss. And managed to miss from point blank range. There we go. That's better. Now, I believe that they are planning on having multiple test tracks and that sort of thing, because this would get a bit tiresome running the same test track for all of your tanks. And at this stage I've already hit that tank over there. I didn't think I had. I'll fire at it just in case. Ricochet. Must have already taken care of that tank. But halfway through the course already. 6 minutes 50 to go. So making decent time, even though the tank does feel a bit slower. It'd be interesting to take a whip it around here and see how much quicker it is, because I think in actuality they were about twice as fast as these tanks, although the reality might be that it only did do about 20 kilometers an hour. I think it was slower than even that. It did more like 15 kilometers an hour, but these tanks only did 4 or 5 miles an hour, so what's that, about 7 or 8 kilometers an hour? Oh, it struggles up that hill. It'll be interesting to see how this performs on the battlefield. I believe the armour on these tanks was thick enough to withstand machine gun fire, but nothing much else was vulnerable to grenades and mortars and artillery pieces. Oh, oh no, have I got myself stuck? It's a bit of an unwieldy beast, this one. Turns like a stuck pig. It's slipping and sliding and not gaining much in the way of traction on the course. Oh, it's struggled big time to get up that minor hump, even on the flat. It's really struggling for speed. Perhaps the prototype wasn't such a bad tank after all. Although statistically this is a much better tank. It just gets across the trench there. Even though statistically it's meant to be a lot better at agility and trench crossing and all of those types of things. We're just about to the end of the course now. 295 points. Once we hit this nav point, that should be it. And we get deployment phase and repair phase bonuses again. And I think we'll continue to the end of the month. We'll try and get a contract before we end the episode. Tank trials are complete. Our research is complete. So we'll go ahead and unlock the medium hulled whippet. So that comes with ammo storage and some more hull doors and hatches and vision ports. So that will be worthwhile researching. And after that we might look at the whippet tracks, the low pass running gear, because I believe we will need that to make a light tank. And you never know, the first contract might need us to make light tank rather than an assault tank. And we'll go to the design bureau and we'll have a look at the faults with the tank. So crew awareness has blocked vision ports from having too many crew. So the way we partially solve that is we just pay money. And that looks like how we're going to take care of all of the faults with the tank. Is we'll just pay the engineers money to spend a bit of extra time fixing it. Internal obstructions because too many crew, and crew safety is compromised due to a blocked evacuation path, which might be true with that chicken wire on the top of the tank. I believe there's a hatch on top of the tank that they use to get out. And we have some mobility issues from being too heavy, and we just can lighten those up by throwing money at them as well. And that's all the faults taken care of. So we now have the Mark 1 finished, which has a decent reputation, so that apparently will help in winning a contract. So we go back to the factory and we'll continue along, and we'll go to the end of the month. Hey, our first contract is in, so we'll make a bid for this contract and then finish up the episode. So contract number 1. Let's have a look. A supply contract for the 1st Battalion. They're looking for an assault tank and they're looking for 20 of them. And we have 31 days to make an application. So this is what they want. 36 crew performance, 63 mobility, 155 protection. The competition is the Hector, which was by the William Forster Company. And that's got a success score of 304. We put our tank in here. The Mark 1 prototype would not beat the Hector, but the Mark 1 is a much better tank, so it was a good thing we did put those tracks and engine on and fix those errors, because now we have a fair shot at winning this contract. We'll give them 20 tanks, and when's that due? 9th of the 12th, I believe that will be, not the 12th of the 9th, because that's already passed. Okay, so December, and if we want to increase that and give ourselves a bit more time, our success score goes down. And if we want to increase the price, success score goes down, so we should be able to get a bit of extra money out because our tank is better. I think 50 grand is a nice point. That makes us still significantly better than the Hector at its best possible value. So that's a contract worth $1 million, and we get fined $43,000 per tank that we don't deliver. So we need to deliver 20, or we will be heading broke pretty quick. And we'll submit that contract. And will we win the contract? We will find out when I post another video in the next day or two. If you've enjoyed this one, please subscribe to get notified when the next one comes up, and just to show me that you enjoyed this video, and throw a like if you want to. If you made it this far, it would be really nice if you did. This is my first video in absolute ages, so If you want to know anything about the game, this is in closed beta at the moment. You need to be a supporter of the program, but I believe you can sort that out on Discord if you want to. I'll put the Discord in the description, and it's a small developer, so if you want to throw this on your wish list on Steam, it really helps them out. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys all on the next episode, and please let me know what you think. Take care all.